So just to keep it short, the identity theory is pretty much just the things we need to do to avoid insulting or hurting the identity of another person. In this case, not being singled out helps learning. Things like, oh, you're really good for this group of people. Like in our case, you're really good for a Mexican. That singles us out. And sometimes it's like, I know sometimes they mean it in a good way, like Alma said, but it's almost never like that. So it really kind of gets you, right? Lack of distinction can improve the confidence. Like you didn't have to tell you have good English for a Mexican. No, you have good English, period. That improves confidence. They're not do not make a special case for you for learning or for learners. If they have good English, they have good English. Not for a Mexican, not for a French, not for a Brazilian. They have good English, period. Always try to keep it like that. Don't say like, oh, for a kid, you have good. No, you have good English. You're really good. Don't single out something. Don't make a distinction. Don't give it like, don't separate it from the norm. If you're going to if someone is going to like, tell you something good, it has to be like a true compliment. And also, this theory has the idea that people don't motivate themselves. They invest themselves, right? Because sometimes even when we are super motivated, we don't want to do things. Sometimes we're tired. And with investment is the other way. It's like slowly but steadily, we are learning things. We're investing our time, our energy, and eventually we also get to improve ourselves. Motivation is seen a little bit different in these theories. So in this case, they don't use it like the normal motivation we have. And they just make it about investments, how this theory says, just like I mentioned, it's more about just doing something for a long time. Whether you want it, you like it or not, you're making investments and you're improving. And the last one, the last thing they mentioned is that we have imaginary communities that help us improve. Now, this goes all the way back to the thing we talk about with speaking with ourselves. Imaginary communities, maybe you're like me. I still do this. I imagine stories. I imagine conversation with people, with imaginary people. I create imaginary situations, imaginary scenarios in my head. Everything in English, just to practice. This is something that we need to do, or that this theory says we need to do, right? Like in your cases, tell me, do you ever have imaginary interviews with the president? Or maybe with a celebrity that you love?
Of course.
Yeah, right? We've all been there, and it helps us. It's something that goes back to the inner voices. We're having practice in the safety of our minds. These are all things that no one judges us here. If we make a mistake, no one cares. At best, we make the mistake and we're like, no, wait, I have to say this. But we learn alone. We make some slips, what we get up, that's it. And well, this helps us a lot. This theory says that every time a student reaches a certain point, they all start to create imaginary communities to improve alone. I did it. I'm pretty sure you all did it. And this is one of those like gatekeeping activities, right? That the moment you start to do these things, you're on the other side. You're a little bit more advanced. You're more invested in learning. And well, the last theory we have, complexity story. This is one I don't really like it, but well, they say that learners develop their language through patterns and that they start to get it steadily, not learning like a specific fixed phrases in patterns, but like general patterns that they adapt and They use it like not in the same scenario as they saw it, they adapt it for other scenarios. And honestly, this part is fine. They also mentioned that all these patterns are learned through social interactions and that formal education doesn't get you that far with the patterns, which I'm a little bit torn between that idea, because I think that formal education impulses these patterns. And they have what we call adaptive imitation, is the thing that I just say, that people just start to catch all the different ideas from people they talk to, the people they hear, or maybe videos they watch, whatever. And they start to use it in different aspects. Like this guy said, I saw a movie last week. Okay, well, I want to talk about an event and it's not a movie. He said saw for the past. Okay, I saw a concert. We start to imitate, but we adapt it, we change it for what our needs. Like I said, these are things we know for granted, but that people never sit down to write. They never sat down to write. So in this case, these are ideas we know, but they just were put into something script. And the last thing here, co-adaptation, which is the thing we just did a small moment ago, where two speakers, two learners, a teacher, a student, they dynamically change the way they speak to adapt to the needs of the other person. If I'm speaking too fast and then the other person is like, oh my God, what did they say? Okay, I'm going to adapt. I'm going to speak slower. I'm going to lower the difficulty of my speech. Or if they are getting bored or they know really well anything, well, you can start to improve and get a little bit more steam. Co-adaptation is just that, dynamically changing the way we speak to help the other person or for the other person to help us. And honestly, I think that's pretty much it with the theories. We only have the motivational system, but that is really simple. It's really simple. In this case, we're only going to tell you the self system of the L2 motivational self system. It's really not, it's only how we divide our motivation. This is another theory, nothing to do with the previous one. And it's that when we learn a language, there are three ways we have to express it. The ideal L2 speaker, who I want to be, how do I want to see myself in a couple of years, in a month? That is like our goal. The ought to, who should I be or what should I know? This is how I'm going to motivate myself. Okay, in 1 month, I should know this. And the learning experience is with whom and where am I? In this case, I put it as an example reading, but it's learning in general. Like, where am I learning? With whom am I learning? Is it with friends, with classmates, with my parents? It's just your environment. And these are the three main stages that they say that motivates people. Like the idea we want to be, the idea of what we need to learn, and with whom or where we're learning. But that's pretty much it for the motivational self system. There are other two subheads or subtitles over there that I didn't cover in this presentation because you can just read them. They were really small and they're not that important, if I'm honest. But well, with that, we're gonna finish here, guys. I'm gonna let you go, enjoy your weekend. In this case, those who are here, since you tolerate me for an hour, you don't have to do any activity. So you have your full mark for this activity now. You already worked what they're going to work on the platform. So in your case, you don't have any assignment this week. You already did everything here. So the assignment that we have on the platform is just for people who didn't enter. So Alma, Jerónimo, Kairi, Begoña, ya los tengo anotados, no se preocupen. And we're going to stop here.
Thank you.
So we're going to stop here, guys. And enjoy your weekend, enjoy your week. I'll see you in 2 weeks, remember? Or Well, yeah, maybe in 2 weeks. Maybe we go back to face classes. Who knows? But I'll see you later, no matter what. And well, thank you for being here and bye.
Thank you.
Good
Bye.
night. Bye bye, everybody.
Have a great week.